Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Yesterday, I had a conversation with Runa and the quality team regarding the Jackson County Mental Health Levy and how we're doing with encounters and billing. And I have some things that I want to share with you all because there are some adjustments that are needing to be made to our current process for things. Um, the first thing is that encounters, they're not always being closed immediately after the appointment is done. So our current policy for the agency is in workflow for an encounter is 1 hour, or rather no later than 1 hour after an encounter. You need to be sure that you are hitting that close button. And you can always go back in later and amend the encounter for your documentation. But as far as time stamping goes and for quality measures, no later than 1 hour after the examination is done or when your meeting with your client is completed, you need to make sure that encounter is closed. Secondly, we still have start and stop times that are not being recorded inside of your encounters. So I'll show you in a demonstration on how you can get those in there in two different ways. Next, we need to ensure that all billing procedures for all insurances and tele are listed, checkboxed, and again in the demonstration I'll go ahead and show that to you. But there still have been times where we're not getting in either a billing code or a diagnosis, and then on the back end that's causing some issues. And then last but not least, because of some of these issues, there has been so far a little over 1,000 minutes that we know we've seen patients for, but because we have no way to prove that the service was provided for those 1,000 minutes, we cannot bill the levy for them. So if you want, you can divide that out by 60, give you the number of hours, and then you could multiply that by however much we could have billed the levy for it, and we can consider that a loss. So we have a lot of improvement in this area to make up, and I want to go ahead into a chart here and then show you how we can address some of these things. So for providers, many of you will see this as your schedule where we are inside the training environment, just so you know that there may be some things that you see in here that are either not in the live environment or vice versa. So just wanted you to be aware. So this person's ready for a provider. We're going to go ahead and then click into it. And we will go to exam. The intake should have already been done for you, or you will either skip the intake altogether. So here's what we're gonna do first. I first want to address start and stop time. So typically in the HPIs where we're putting start and stop time, you have a number of ways to do this. You could type in, start time 1 p.m. and then later if you want, you can do end time 2 p.m. Maybe you want to just do session duration, right? 1 p.m. 2 p.m. right? Just some examples. I'm typing these in, however, and let's hope it's in here. Whenever you are typing in a text field and you see the star icon, that means that it is a macro enable field. So there is a duration macro. It'll just be period D, and it should come up as duration. You will click it, and you'll get this wonderful text box to fill in here. So we can do 1, it's a drop down, PM, end time 2, PM, and then even ask you to give the total time 1 hours and 0 minutes. So that is one way to do start and stop time. There may be some templates, and I don't know if we'll actually find them in this one or not, where a start and stop time is included. I don't know if this is actually one of them or not. It is not, but there are some where it is in there. Let me check one more for you. Oops. Established patient. Let's see if it's in this one. It is not, and all of these may not have updated. So anyways, just be aware that you need to get a start and stop time in every single one of your encounters, and those were some ways that you can do it. Okay, I will show you how to close the encounter here towards the end, but let's go ahead and jump over now to the billing tab. So sign off, actually let me go ahead and bring over diagnosis because we'll need that. And then we'll go to billing. Okay, so in the billing section here, we need to make sure that we're recording our appropriate code, 9079. We're going to do 92, right? That's a diagnostic eval with medical service. If this would be a telehealth visit, you would use, excuse me, not AJ, 95. It's not going to show up here because it's not actually a modifier in the client train, would use 95, and then you would use 1 unit. Don't forget that for telehealth, although it's not showing up here, in this provider review section or somewhere down below it in the live environment, you're going to have another checkbox telehealth tracking code. You're going to want to click that checkbox. I know that wasn't that checkbox, guys, but I clicked it. And then that is it. You won't need to put in a billing code or a diagnosis when you click that checkbox. Just click it. Once that is done, then you have those in there. You have the start and stop time. We're good to go. Now, what's happening now, I mentioned that oftentimes the encounters aren't being closed. And I'm not exactly sure why that is because I've not talked with everyone. I have talked with some providers, and what I had been told in the past was that it's easier to know which encounters that they have not yet completed when they're able to go back to Athena. So I'm not going to close this. When they're able to go back to Athena and still see the green. I mean, it might be 2 p.m. This person has 8, but it's green, right? I mean, basically what's happening is Athena is seeing this as this patient is still inside of your exam room talking to you. So while it might help you remember that you need to go and put in documentation or something, we need to be sure that we are closing the encounter no later than an hour afterwards. So we're here back at sign off. We've put in our billing, right? All we need to do now is we need to hit close encounter, okay? And now that encounter is closed and it will show gray. So yes, there is a downside. It might not be very easy for you to identify which people you still need to chart on. However, by not closing that encounter, we're not meeting a quality measure. We're also getting inadequate tracking and we're losing dollars also on the billing side for the levy and likely other private insurers. So those are the major things. Like I said, we had 1,000 hours of levy use that we were not able to bill for because we can't prove that we actually provided levy services during that time. So that was a pretty big hit to us. If you have any questions about this or the overall workflow, please let me know. I'd be happy to address them for you. And if we can figure out any way to make these processes easier for you as well, I am all ears and happy to help you figure some of that out. So guys, thank you for taking the last, 7.5 minutes to watch this video. I appreciate it, and take care, and yeah, see you soon.